again, guys, I'm human. I'm fucking human. And my greatest fear is letting down the people I love. It's always been my greatest. It will always be like, and I say that, no, it is like, yeah, as a coach, like that should be our greatest fear. Because if it's not, you're a fucking selfish prick who only cares about money. Like, if you're not afraid of letting people down, you should not be a coach. Like that's our heart, you know, like our heart is, I care so fucking much about people. I want them so badly to see their version of success. Now, my biggest head voice that I've really been working on the last couple of weeks, by the way, I feel really proud of myself, is allowing you to have your own idea of success and me kind of detaching from what that looks like, because I tend to think that everyone needs to be a Michael Jordan and not everyone wants to be a Michael Jordan. You know, like I tend to think that everyone should have $1 million business, not because I think they need to be like me, but because that's the potential I see in every single person, right? And so one of the things I'm working on is letting go of like what other people's pace is and being like, this is my pace, right? But everyone learns differently. Everyone is on a different journey, and some of you are way more like Mark than you're like me, right? And that's just a different path, a different pace, a different journey. Some of you are more like me, but then have your own nuances because we're all fucking different, right? And so like, that's something I've really been working on, is like the success of the program doesn't have to be this measurable thing. And some of that comes from, of course, me also, even though I wasn't in MLM, I really heavily was, right? To where it was like, one of the things that leaders would say, well, she did your group and she's still not showing up. So what's up with that? And I was literally thinking about this pool earlier today. I was like, why? How come I never looked back at them and said, well, she was yours first, so what's up with that? Like, like it would almost be like to them, if they sent someone to you and they didn't come out a superstar diamond on the other side, they were almost upset at you for not fixing their person. And I think that put some baggage on me to feel that it was like my responsibility to make sure every single person got these big, explosive, tangible results. And of course, I love it when that happens, but there's a difference between enjoying that and needing that. You know what I'm saying? So I've been working really hard on that.
Let me talk on that.
Go, yeah.
So, I am more like Mark. It's not that I don't want to be fast and paced. It's just my brain does not operate that way. Like I'm
a fucking schizophrenic over here, so don't feel bad about that. I'm weird.
Super disciplined. Like I've never been a disciplined person with anything in my life, right? So when it comes to the bottom line of success, for a long time, I believe that like success is making money.
Really?
And for the longer that I believe, I'm not making money, so I got successful.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I wrote I'm a successful life coach on my hand for a month and a half straight, and that I started doing the things and making the sales.
Love that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just comes right back to the belief.
Yeah.
And when we don't believe we're successful, we're not going to be successful.
Yeah. I mean, it is true. It is true. And, you know, like, I also have to, like, look back at my own journey. And year one, I was the most off-pace John Maxwell team member that existed. And it's just like, yeah, we're all on different paces. We're all on different paths. We're all on different journeys. And that's fucking beautiful. Like, sometimes I just feel so honored. Like, when I hear someone say, I'm more like Mark, I'm like, that's a really cool thing, actually, that you've made it this far on my journey, but you're not like me. Which is a huge kudos to Mark, by the way. I hope he can hear me back there. Is a huge kudos to Mark. Compliment? No, it's a huge compliment to Mark, because the reality is we make the kind of team that if he wasn't on the team, some of you wouldn't still be here, because you wouldn't have, like, even if you like me, which I hope you do, you don't have to say if you don't.
Don't say it if you don't.
I'm an Enneagram 3, so don't hurt my feelings. No, but it's just, we have such a cool team where, like, we meet different people with different things, you know? And some of you want to be like a master coach more than you want to be a six-figure coach, and that's okay, you know? Now, I hope along the way. You want both. I hope I've given enough vision for that. But yeah, just business is just, it's a fucking basketball game, right? And we all play different positions, but we're all needed on the team. So we're all needed to win a championship.
And I mean, but like, regardless of where you are and where they are, like, their success is not okay.
Yeah, I've been working on that too.
I know.
I've been working on that a lot.
Well, Mark had brought it up, I can't remember when, how like, he was talking about how not everybody comes out on top and is successful who goes through the programs. Like,
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
not everybody.
Yeah.
And it's not on us, right? Like, we can't control their outcome. We can't control their action level. We can't control their thoughts or what they do.
Totally.
And it's hard.
Yeah.
It's a really hard thing.
It's really hard, especially when you charge people $15,000.
But they need that $15,000, right?
No, you're absolutely right.
And then you also have to remember, too, all of that success that you never see
Yep.
that's at home.
Yep.
Sure. Right in their own head.
I know.
That's true.
I know.
And that's priceless.
No, I agree. I agree. And that's the shit I have to constantly remind myself of because I'm such a business-minded person. And that's why I like listening in on Mark's sometimes when people are like, my relationship with my kids is so much better. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like, I love that. I would have never brought that up on a call. Like, but it is. Like, I do want you guys to know, like, life coaching is life for me. So even though I don't talk about the family attributes as much as Mark, it's like, I would have never even gone through the pain of learning this shit if it wasn't for wanting to do something better for family. That's what it's always about. To me. It was always about family. Just really fell in love with sales along the way. But I do want to say this. I made a promise to God when I was struggling that when I figured out this business thing, were my exact words to God, by the way, because I didn't know sales or marketing was even a word to use. When I figured out this business thing, I'm going to spend the rest of my life teaching people how to do that. And so that is my like conviction. Like that is, I think we all make promises to God here and there that like sometimes we forget about. And this is one I like could never, like I can remember the exact moment I was sitting in the car. I remember the fucking like entrance ramp I was about to get onto, like onto the highway. And that is just such a fucking conviction for me. And that's where I have to be careful to keep that in the heart voice of like, this is a commitment I made to teach it, not a commitment I made to force it, but we're human. And sometimes that head and that heart, they just kind of float in and out. And sometimes you forget which one you're in, you know what I mean? And sometimes you do something good from a bad motive, or you do something bad from a good motive. Is that interesting? And that's why life coaching taught me there is no right or wrong. It's head or heart.
There's always the ripple effect.
Yeah.
Right? And they have the recordings of your videos for life. So they got the opportunity and the means to go back and
right.
watch this.
Yeah. Yeah.
They got there.
I didn't know I was going to get coached today, but I appreciate you guys. Never be sorry. Never. I love to be coached, by the way. That's one of the reasons me and Trisha are buddies, is because we've had a couple times where she just straight up, and guys, when you are in a conversation with a high performer, the worst thing in the world you could do is sugarcoat something. Do you know, I don't know if I've ever said this before, sales psychology for a high performer, totally different than anyone else. Because sales psychology doesn't work on high performers. You better fucking say what you mean, and you better say it bold and strong and confident, or just I don't give a fuck. If you try to play on my insecurities, I'll be, you know what I mean? Like I see that, I can smell that shit from a mile away. But if you lean in and just say what you fucking think, I'll be like, yeah, let's go. Tell me, ask me more. Cause that's what we crave, like Kurt will like apologize for hassling me. I text him back. I'm like, stop fucking apologizing. This is how I know you're serious. Hassle me as often as you need to get the shit you need, because that's my love language. I want to be challenged. So if you're ever on a call, by the way, and you feel like this person is like super successful, they're very confident, it's a little bit harder to crack the egg, but you don't always need to crack the egg. Sometimes they don't want to be cracked. They want to be fucking punched in the face. you know, and it's different. It is different. Like with, well, this goes back to the video we made yesterday. Difference between life coaching and performance coaching. Life coaching is for the self-sabotager that's just stuck in the head and as a result, just can't go anywhere. Okay. Performance coaching is for the person who is already super fucking highly motivated. Some of it comes from the heart, but like they've also got some head shit mixed in that is more of like a guilt and shame around needing to perform. And that person needs a different type of coach. Like that person needs someone to like ask them a question that will knock them flat on their ass.
They're
not used to it because they've performed well enough for long enough that people stopped asking how they were doing. That's what I have found. Give me a Fitzpatrick, give me a Moyer, give me one of those people. They've been doing so well for so long, no one has even thought to check on them. But they wouldn't have got that far unless they like to challenge. So when you're the person that gives that challenge to them, they're like, what was that? What? I haven't heard that in a while, and it's like, I get so many messages from people like that after our first session that are like, you have no idea how good it felt for someone to challenge me like that. No one's done that to me in years. And that's a really fun relationship.
So then as part of that, with those kind of people, like they've accomplished so much, they've reached all their goals. They feel like they've done it all, there's no parent.
No.
And so when you, no.
Opposite of that. Opposite of that. They've won 6 rings. They've won 6 rings.
And then they're still not satisfied.
They've won 6 rings and they're just such a fucking piece of shit because they haven't won a 7th. And so there's an element of push, but then there's an also what I end up doing for them long term is more life coaching. Because a lot of times it's like, well, okay, let me give you a couple scenarios. One of them, a client that I have right now, has not made it all the way to the top, but she's made it 90% of the way there, and everyone just praises her. Oh my God, you're so amazing. You're the best in the world. And she feels like a total fake because she hasn't actually made the top. So with that, there's 2 things working. There's one, which is the performance side of, cool, so how do we get to the top? But then the second side is, how do we remove the need to be at the top? It's a multifaceted thing, right? And that's where the life and performance coaching goes so well together because everybody needs both. Like some people need a lot more life coaching because of the sabotage. Some people need a lot more life coaching because of the baggage they've brought with them to the top of the mountain that they need to like fucking let go of.